What will the world look like in 50 years? In 100 years? Will it look like Stanley Kubrick's Space Odyssey, where man has reached the outer limits of space, and computer intelligence has become a threat to man's existence? Or will it appear nothing like this vision, but rather resemble a simpler time, where man and earth live in harmony, and the human race has learned what is truly important? What is our future? What is Earth's future? It appears the former scenario seems closer to a reality. As a global society, we have been walking, no, running, down a path towards what Derrick Jensen describes in his book, What We Leave Behind, as a technotopia. In a Yes Magazine article written in 2001, Andrew Kimbrell describes the transformation of our public and private lives into ones within a, quote, technological cocoon, where our daily activities have adopted new technologies to the point where they are necessary for society to function. What arguably started with Ford's assembly line has evolved into creation of a technosphere that envelops everything we do. It is already visible. Today we have the BlackBerry, iPhone, iPod, iPad, desktops, laptops, netbooks, ebooks, TV, internet, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, cars that start themselves, cars that park themselves, biotech, nanotech, household tech, and the list goes on. It is clear that humans today live within what the late sociologist Jacques Ellul called a technological milieu, stating that it is this technosphere that is the center of all aspects of life. This technological revolution has been the source of debate for years, specifically with regards to its impact on the environment. Activists argue that the world has become addicted to technology, causing societies to become less mindful of any possible adverse effects, and ultimately threatening the survival of the earth. Supporters of new technologies, on the other hand, like author and engineer Samuel Flourman, who has stated he, quote, sees no evidence that frequent contact with nature is essential to human well-being, believe this is the only path for human progress, and that it has been technology that has allowed us to exceed nature, or rather, outsmart nature. For example, one could argue that through new technology, humans have been able to, quote, cheat death when nature poses such a threat. Derrick Jensen describes a future in which an ideal society is driven by further technological innovations. A society where not only technology is maintained, but so is the environment. A future where there is near perfect recycling and manufacturing, constrained population growth and consumption, and the utilization of environmentally safe materials. Lester Brown, in his book Plan B, analyzes the current state of the global society, specifically examining our contribution towards the death of the earth, including climate change, deforestation, species extinction, among others. He then proposes solutions that, if put into effect soon, could make Jensen's vision a reality. For example, Brown highlights the need to increase land productivity and water productivity, to shift to renewable energy sources, and to begin designing cities for people. And as a supporter of continued technological innovation, he believes this is a critical element and driving force in reaching these goals and ultimately becoming a sustainable global society. So how will the world proceed? What will determine whether we develop into a brave new world or a world that embraces nature? It of course is and always will be us. And how will we decide to incorporate further technologies into our lives? We clearly have reached a point where surviving without technology is impossible. But if we are to continue along this trajectory into the future, then we may not survive altogether. The Earth will not survive. Currently, an organization led by Jacques Fresco, called the Venus Project, proposes a plan to create great enough social change in order to revolutionize our way of life. It is the creative thinking the world needs to begin reversing our harmful impact on the planet. Fresco aims to modify human behavior so as to direct new technologies towards benefiting both humans and the planet as one. It is a very audacious attempt at trying to redefine our culture as a species, and is something that most will see as misguided efforts. The reason for this viewpoint is the difficulty one faces when trying to create change within the constraints of the structure that requires it. Because over time, any individual or group of individuals who try to accomplish this will find themselves compromising with those in power and conforming to the extent where their ideas and those of society no longer differ. Andrew Kimbrell describes a situation that illustrates the source of this difficulty, that being the beliefs and motivations of the powerful elite, which, in this case, are the corporations and those who rely on their success. He suggests that while we should be focusing our efforts on directing technologies that are compatible with nature, in reality we are, quote, engineering life so that it better fits our technological system. In other words, we are succeeding in remaining innovative, but our technological innovations cannot truly be deemed successes if we are to step back and consider the health of the environment, that which will ultimately determine our success as a species. Instead, these new technologies only support and progress our exploitative nature. Consider the production of disposable items. Advancements in manufacturing have forever changed the way companies market their products, as well as the buying behavior of consumers. These companies have taken advantage of what are called, quote, financial incentives, according to Derrick Jensen. For example, it is cheaper to purchase new razors instead of razor blade cartridges, or a completely new printer instead of a couple ink cartridge replacements. We as consumers have been conditioned, if you will, to place more value in that which is new, which is exactly what corporations want. Because for every purchase we make, and for every tree that's cut down, or mine that's exhausted, or a river that's polluted that leads to our purchase, the companies are turning a profit, which, in their eyes, is the only thing that matters. So what must occur for us to shift our focus regarding technology? To make possible initiatives like the Venus Project and others like it? This will appear a radical thought to many, but we may be at a point where radical and incredibly creative ideas are our only option. We must remove the keystone of the structure. We must allow it to fall so that we may start anew, re-energized and refocused. This is the only way to produce effective change, to lead a movement that is not confined within the walls of today's society. As you can imagine, this is a daunting task, a near impossibility. But if we are faced with no other choice, if we finally reach the tipping point, then nothing can be dismissed. So the question remains, will our actions as consumers, as humans, lead us towards technological singularity as proposed by James John Bell, in which technological progress will accelerate to a point where technology surpasses and even extinguishes nature? Or will we realize the ramifications of our behavior and strive to create a world where technology is compatible with nature? Together, we make this choice.